Yes, literature. Unit 4, chapter 15. Unit 4, chapter 15.
It was about freedom, right?
Yes, dear.
It was about freedom, right?
Again?
I'm saying it was about freedom, right? Something like
Freedom,
that.
yes, dear. Yes, freedom. Excellent. Okay. Uh, Chapter 15, we previous time took the making connection and what are we going to take, and as Lino said, we talked about freedom and we discussed the speech. What is an important speech you've heard recently, and then we read about a speech said or was given by Mahatma Gandhi and how he was the reason of a non-violence protests or non-violence rebellion against the British government. Okay, today we'll take a very interesting topic. Let me share it for you.
Which page?
Page 327, the Berlin Wall. 327. Okay, here I share it for you. The presentation here. This is support for chapter 15, the first read. John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy is the author. Okay, or we can say more, he is the speaker of this excerpt. This excerpt is a speech at the Berlin Wall. We will not get to know everything now, but let's see first who is John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy was the president of the United States. He was the 36th president of the United States, 36th. He took office in January 20 of 1960. 1960 he was the president. JF Kennedy was a popular president with a 70% approval rating, because we know United States is a democratic country. They vote in order to choose the president, which is unusually high. Okay, most presidents there, they win like 55%, 59%, but he won with a 70 approval rating, which means that most of the American citizens loved and supported John F. Kennedy. He was considered a visionary president because he had big dreams and important goals. In 1971, so he was a president 1960. In 1961, he established the Peace Corps. What is the Peace Corps? Peace Corps is a service organization that still exists today and sends volunteers abroad to work on challenging global issues. 1962, JFK Kennedy announced that the United States would work toward the goal of sending a man to the moon. He also spoke out in favor of civil rights for Black people, Black American, and in 1963 he proposed historic civil rights legislation. John F. Kennedy, as we said, of 1960, he was the president. 1963, he was killed. Okay, he was shot in a ceremony. I will show you now. Unfortunately, John F. Kennedy didn't live to see the US astronaut reach the moon. So, as again, he said two things will happen. Number one, they will send an astronaut to the moon. The United States will send an astronaut to the moon, but he didn't live to this moment. Okay, and he didn't live till he signed the civil rights legislation for the Black people. His life and presidency was cut short when, on November 1963, he was shot and killed by Lee Harvey Oswald here. So I will show you now. Are you here, grade 11?
Yes,
Yes,
I watched
teacher.
a video about his assassination before. It's very interesting.
Again, dear, I can't hear you.
I watched like a short documentary about his assassination. It was very interesting. Yeah, they also had suspicions that an umbrella man killed him by using his umbrella as a gun.
Yes, let's interesting. Let's see here. I shared the voice. I didn't share it.
Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
And by all NBC stations, a hotline bulletin in 10 seconds.
Several shots were fired as President Kennedy's motorcade passed through downtown Dallas. The crowd screamed and lay down on the grass as the motorcade went by. It was not known if the shots were aimed at the president. Repeat, it is not known if the shots were aimed at the president.
Here is a flash from the Associated Press, Dateline Dallas. Two priests who were with President Kennedy say he is dead of bullet wounds.
White House Press Secretary Malcolm Kilduff has just announced that President Kennedy died at approximately 1 o'clock Central Standard Time.
He died of a gunshot wound in the brain.
After being shot at by an unknown assailant during a motorcade drive through downtown Dallas.
We have suffered a loss that cannot be weighed. I know that the world shares the sorrow that Mrs. Kennedy and her family bear.
Hey YouTube fans, I'm Landon Downey from CNBC. Thanks so much for checking out our channel.
I want the minute of the assassination, but this is a long video. There are yes, this was the umbrella man. This is the original.
Little Red Riding Hood. Let's start the story a different way. It was dark inside the wolf.
Grade 11, are you all here?
Yes.
Yes. Let's focus first and watch the documentary of the assassination of John F. Kennedy first.
What, Matt?
Focus with this.
In December 1967, John Updike was writing Talk of the Town for the New Yorker, and he spent most of that Talk of the Town column talking about the Umbrella Man. He said that his learning of the existence of the Umbrella Man made him speculate that in historical research, there may be a dimension similar to the quantum dimension in physical reality. If you put any event under a microscope, you will find a whole dimension of completely weird, incredible things going on. It's as if there's the macro level of historical research where things sort of obey natural laws and usual things happen and unusual things don't happen. And then there's this other level where everything is really weird. On November 22nd, it rained the night before, but everything cleared by about 9 or 9:30 in the morning. So if you were looking at various photographs of the motorcade route and the crowds gathered there, you will have noticed nobody's wearing a raincoat. Nobody has an open umbrella. Why? Because it's a beautiful day.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. And then I noticed in all of Dallas, there appears to be exactly one person standing under an open black umbrella. And that person is standing where the shots begin to rain into the limousine. Let us call him the Umbrella Man.
Did you name the Umbrella Man?
Yes. You can see him in the certain frames from the Zapruder film standing right there by the Stemmons Freeway sign. There are other still photographs taken from other locations in Dealey Plaza which show the whole man standing under an open black umbrella. The only person under any umbrella in all of Dallas standing right at the location where all the shots come into the limousine. Can anyone come up with a non-sinister explanation for this? So I published this in 6 seconds, but didn't speculate about what it meant or got into any of the conspiracy theories, because everybody else got into the conspiracy theories. There was one wingnut who published a book with a diagram of the umbrella. The umbrella was rigged so that there was an aiming device and there was a rocket tube that you could fire a flechette directly into Kennedy's throat.
The Umbrella Man is the real assassin.
That was the idea. That was the source of the hole in the throat, folks, right? Well, I asked that the Umbrella Man come forward and explain this, right? So he did. He came forward and he went to Washington with his umbrella. And he testified in 1978 before the House Select Committee on Assassinations. He explained then why he had opened the umbrella and was standing there that day. The open umbrella was a kind of protest, a visual protest. It wasn't a protest of any of John Kennedy's policies as president. It was a protest at the appeasement policies of Joseph P. Kennedy, John Kennedy's father, when he was ambassador to the Court of St. James in 1938 and 39. It was a reference to Neville Chamberlain's umbrella. I read that and I thought, this is just wacky enough. It has to be true. And I take it to be true. What it means is that if you have any fact which you think is really sinister, right, is really obviously a fact which can only point to some sinister underpinnings, hey, forget it, man, because you can never on your own think up all the non-sinister, perfectly valid explanations for that fact. A cautionary tale.
You got it, Lujane?
Yes. He was one of the suspects, but it wasn't really him.
Yes. I want. There was a small video of the minute of his shot, but it's not here. Here they when. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Maybe this one, because they don't have a full video of it. Just the second of firing him, and his wife tried to escape of the car. They blamed her, the woman later, the girls, by the way. They blamed his wife. Why you tried to jump off the car and leave your husband? That's why I wanted to show you how the minute of maybe this. Let's see this, but this is not.
For just $67, you can make as many videos as you want, and you never need to pick up a camera.
This is not the original one.
Fitzgerald, November the election bid ahead of his wife Jacqueline traveled in a motorcade through downtown Dallas. At 12:30 p.m. local time, as the president's open-top limousine reached Dealey Plaza, 3 gunshots were fired at the convoy. 2 bullets hit the president, 1 wounded him at the back of the neck and throat, the other caused a massive and fatal head injury. The president was pronounced dead at 1 p.m. in an historic announcement that stunned America. A government investigation found the shots were fired from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository by 24-year-old Lee Harvey Oswald. But the suspect was never tried. 2 days later, he was shot dead by local cabaret owner Jack Ruby during a prison transfer. The fact the identity of Kennedy's assassin was never proven in the courts has given rise to various alternative and unproven theories as to what really happened and who may have been behind it. A House of Representatives report in 1979 concluded there was a high possibility that 2 gunmen were involved.
Like it must have felt like.
His body. His beautiful wife, she in the perfect pink outfit that would forever be remembered, not like this, but instead, just an hour later, splattered with her husband's blood. As for the young president, just 46, the first U.S. leader to be born in the 20th century, not even 3 years in office, he would never grow older than this image, forever frozen on this Dallas day.
The exact shot is not. I remember I saw one a few years ago, but I can't find it, Grace. Okay, so while he was, let's go back to our presentation. While he was in his car riding with his wife, he has been shot 3 shots. Okay, and was killed by these shots immediately. Okay, a second after this picture was taken. So this is John F. Kennedy, the President of the United States, who has been
killed him.
If you remember Abraham Lincoln, he was assassinated too. John F. Kennedy was assassinated. Reagan was, when we read the second excerpt, we will get to know that Reagan too had, they tried to assassinate him too. It is people who oppose their policies, the president policies, they want to get rid of him. Okay, you got the answer with that?
Yes.
Okay, so this is John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy is the speaker of this speech. Okay, so we go back to the main topic or main idea of the excerpt of Berlin Wall. What is Berlin Wall? Okay, this is Berlin Wall. This is it here, this long wall here. What happened? What is Berlin Wall? Have you ever heard about Berlin Wall? Berlin in Germany.
No, I haven't.
Okay, let's see. Okay, when World War II finished, girls, remember World War II and how Hitler was the reason of World War II?
Teacher, it's the wall that separated Germany into 2 parts.
Yes, excellent, dear. How the world has ended, and then Germany was the reason, Hitler was the reason. So after the massive defeat of Germany, at that time the two strong governments was the United States and Soviet Union. United States was so powerful and Soviet Union was so powerful. Soviet Union is now divided into many countries. Soviet Union is divided into many countries, like Russia, one of them. It was before a group of countries together called Soviet Union. So there was United States and Soviet Union. They were the most strongest. Look, I made double superlative, most strongest. So they were the strongest countries. So what did they do? They divided Germany. Okay, they divided Germany. So after the massive defeat of Germany, Germany was divided into East and West. United States took a part and the Soviet Union took a part. Allied Peace Conference, in the conference, they sat together and they determined the fate of Germany, Germany's territories. They split the defeated nation. They split Germany into Allied occupation zone, eastern part of the country went to the Soviet Union. So the Soviet Union is in the east, and United States, Great Britain, and at the end France took the west. So I have the east with Soviet Union and west with United States. East, Soviet Union. So teacher, how a country will be divided by two governments? They said they divided it as if we are living in, if we live in Saudi Arabia. So they come at the Riyadh and they split it. They say that Riyadh, Khobar and Dammam alone, Jeddah, Mecca, Medina alone. So they divided the two countries into East and West. Why? So they split the government. The government is two governments. Number one is the Soviet Union in the East. Number two is the United States in the West. What is the Soviet Union? Soviet Union at that time, it is not a democratic country like United States. There are two, girls, please focus with me. There are two economic systems in countries. Economic system is the way the government deals, the government controls. In the Soviet Union, they followed a communism. Communism, economic system, communism. What is communism? Communism is the government controls everything. This was from the Soviet Union. And the capitalism is the government interferes in a few things like teaching, insurance, health insurance and this, school, education, I'm sorry, not teaching, education, health insurance and this. But in the communism, the government controls everything. It controls even where do you work? Yani I go to a faculty and then after I graduate, it hires me. You work in this school. Not in a capitalism country. I am free to work in education school. I can leave and go to another school. No. In Soviet Union, in communism society, you cannot leave your work. You will not find another work easily because the government decides everything for you. So I have communism and capitalism. Communism, Soviet Union. Capitalism, United States and freedom and this. So when a country is divided into two parts, so two governments, two economical systems, one will succeed and another will fail. So people from the East, from the Soviet Union part, wanted to go and live in the East with the United States part. So people were escaping, as you can see, from the West to the East. So from the East, I'm sorry, to the West, because the East is Soviet Union. So Premier Khrushchev, because this is a Russian name, Khrushchev or something. He gave the East German government permission to stop the flow of immigrants, people who immigrated from the West to the East. They want to stop it because people were leaving the Soviet Union government to go to the United States government. So he wanted to stop it. He doesn't want people to immigrate and leave his government. So in just 2 weeks, the East Germany Army Police Force and volunteer construction workers had completed a makeshift barbed wire and concrete block wall. Concrete block and wire. The Berlin Wall that divided one side of the city from the other. Okay, blocks and then wire. Before the wall was built, Berliners, those people who live in Berlin, Berliners on both sides of the city could move around fairly freely. So they crossed the east-west border to work, to shop, to go to theater and the movies, trains, the subways, lines, carried passengers back and forth. But after the wall was built, it becomes impossible to get from east to West Berlin except through one of the 3 checkpoints. In order to cross the country, and the city, I'm sorry, it is the city as if we are in Riyadh. We came to El Alaya and then divided it into two parts. In order to go, for example, Al Qasr Mall, you have to cross through a checkpoint. This is a checkpoint. This was before. This was before, and this is now. They kept still keeping it for like a memory or something. So this was before. People used to go through a checkpoint. So police will ask him, "What's your name? Where do you want to go? Why do you want to go?" It separates the East here from the West. East is Soviet Union, West is freedom, United States. People who want to cross, okay? People who want to cross should cross through a checkpoint. Are you with me?
Yes.
Yes, teacher.
This is Berlin Wall. The construction of the Berlin Wall did stop the flood of refugees from east to west, and it did diffuse the crisis over Berlin. Though he was not happy about it, President John F. Kennedy considered that a wall, because when you know that United States at that time, it was John F. Kennedy. He said a wall is a hell of a lot better than a war. It is better to build a wall, because the Soviet side is the one who built the wall. What was the reply of United States? They said a wall is better than a war. You want to build a wall? Okay. It is better than have a war between the Soviet Union and United States. And after 2 years of the Berlin Wall was erected, John F. Kennedy, the president that we've just seen now, delivered one of the most famous addresses of his presidency to a crowd of more than 120,000 gathered outside West Berlin City Hall. Just the steps from the Brandenburg is a gate of a checkpoint. Kennedy's speech has been largely remembered for one particular phrase, "I am a Berliner." He didn't say, "I am a West Berliner," okay? He said, "I am a Berliner," that the East and West should be united. Again, it was John F. Kennedy, John F. Kennedy, and this was at Berlin. This was the picture of his speech in Berlin. Okay, he was president 1960, and then he traveled to Berlin 2 years after the building of Berlin Wall, because the World War II ended in 1945, but the wall was built in here 1960. I remember it was built. It was not. It is. I didn't write the exact year. Okay. So after it was built, 2 years later, John F. Kennedy went to Berlin and he gave this famous speech. On November 9, 1989, as the Cold War began to thaw across Eastern Europe. What is Cold War? Cold War is a war without using guns. Without using guns. Yani, I will not fire you, you fire me. No, we have, I will play in your economic system. I'll conquer a land that you to expand my territory, and then I lose that. And that's what happened with the Soviet Union when they went to conquer Afghanistan in order to expand their power. And then when they were defeated in Afghanistan, their strength began to fade, and then they lost. And this was the main reason of ending of Afghanistan, of Soviet Union, is when they went to Afghanistan. It is out of our topic. Anyway, so when was it? When was the wall broken? When the Cold War between United States and Soviet Union started. Okay, the East Berlin's communist, East Berlin communist, from the word communism. Communist is the adjective of communism, economic system. They announced a change in the city's relations with the West. Starting at midnight that day, he said citizens of the GDR were first free to cross. of the government in the Soviet Union part, they are free to cross the country's borders. East and West Berliners flock to the wall, drinking beer and champagne and chanting, "Tour off, open the gate." At midnight, they flooded through the checkpoints. And here, some pictures of breaking the Berlin Wall in 1989. Okay. Are you with me, girls?
Yes. So, Miss, they escaped because of the war?
Yes, Miss.
Who escaped?
The Soviet Union, the Berliners.
I'll tell you. Listen. United States and Soviet Union. United States capitalism, Soviet Union communism. At that time, both countries after World War II, both countries were very strong. They wanted to expand their territories, expand their power. United States stopped invading. It stopped invading. What happened to Soviet Union? Soviet Union went to invade Afghanistan. When they invaded Afghanistan, look at what United States did. United States gave money, supported Afghanistan with money and with help of Arab countries to support Afghanistan with a power to stop the Soviet Union. And that was the establishment or the beginning of Al-Qaeda. Not Arabs didn't start it, the United States started it. And it's written in their books, it is not my opinion, it's written in the, you know, the social book that you study, not you, in 7, 8, and 9, the black one, the blue one, it is written in their book, and it's not my opinion. So as it's written in their book, that the United States is the one that started Al-Qaeda and Taliban in Afghanistan. Why they started Al-Qaeda and Taliban? Because again, Soviet Union conquered Afghanistan. When Soviet Union thought that Afghanistan is an easy country to be invaded, but Afghanistanians are strong people, okay, and wild people, and they got support by money and guns and weapons. By how they got this, it is a poor country, how they got this, by the help of United States and the money of the Arab countries. They supplied Afghanistan with money in order to what? To defeat Soviet Union. You got it? So this is a Cold War. I am fighting you without using guns. United States didn't use the guns, but it thought of Taliban and Al-Qaeda, and this was the establishment, and they called it at that time that people have to go travel to Afghanistan to stop the Soviet Union invasion. From here started Taliban and Al-Qaeda, from this point. So Afghanistan defeated the Soviet Union in their lands, in the Afghanistan lands. So the Soviet Union got defeated. So when it is, its power faded, no power. So they cannot control countries. So at that time, the communism stopped, and the Soviet Union was divided into countries. The biggest one is Russia now. And later then, Al-Qaeda and Taliban, they expanded, and they, as they claim, this was they were the reason behind it. I don't know if you know or not, the 11th of September in United States, when a plane crashed the two towers of the United States. So actually, United States started it. United States is the reason for this, because they created Al-Qaeda, they created Taliban, they supported Afghanistan with money to defeat the Soviet Union. Because they don't want to interfere into wars, they don't want to lose. This is called the Cold War. This is called the Cold War, that I fight without using my weapons, without killing my citizens. By supporting Afghanistan with money, okay, through Arab countries, and encourage the idea of that people should travel to Afghanistan in order to defeat the Soviet Union and invasion of the Soviet Union. That's why that was the last hope for Soviet Union to survive. It was killed in Afghanistan. Okay.
Yes, fair enough.
Okay. So did we enter the next period? Oh, yeah, we should stop here and we join the second period, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. 5 minutes, girls, and come quick.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Bye.